Greetings and welcome to KSOL Black Talk Radio, the new black media. This video is about Harvard's first black faculty deans are let go amid uproar over Harvey Weinstein defense. You see, Harvard said on Saturday that a law professor who was representing Harvey Weinstein would not continue as faculty dean of an undergraduate house after his term ends on June 30th. Bowing to months of pressure from students. The professor, Ronald S. Sullivan Jr., and his wife, Stephanie Robinson, who is a lecturer at the law school, have been the faculty deans of Winthrop House, one of Harvard's residential houses for undergraduate students since 2009. They were the first African American faculty deans in Harvard's history. Now, before I continue, you heard it here. They are part of Harvey Weinstein's defense. I have this to say. Again, I've said in my other videos, I'm so sick of so-called black people who are, it's so disgusting because even watching Roland Martin, for instance, the panel, they had this guy, Malik, I forget his last name, he's a black conservative. He's black and he says, well, I'm black and I have my own opinion and you can't tell me what to think. And Black people like this, you are so off code and you're a reason why the black majority is so messed up. It's because of you individualisms who come out with your blackness and how you have a right to be black how you want to be, especially if it's off code, you do have a right to be that way. But you are the reason why the black communities across this nation are so messed up, because we have to depend on people like you who are in politics, who end up on the Roland Martin show, and who end up on the front pages of social media telling us how you are representing sexual deviants like Harvey Weinstein. This is what black America, what we have to deal with. You don't come forward and help other black people. God forbid you do that. You're black and all. You have the expertise to help fight for a white man named Harvey Weinstein, but God forbid you help another black person. That would just be too uncode, right? But I digress. But when Mr. Sullivan joined the defense team of Mr. Weinstein, the Hollywood producer and sexual deviant, in January, many students expressed dismay, saying that his decision to represent a person accused of abusing women disqualified Mr. Sullivan from serving in a role of support and mentorship to students. Mr. Weinstein, the sexual deviant, is scheduled to go to trial in June in Manhattan on rape and related charges. Now, my question is, why would Harvey Weinstein, this disgusting degenerate, be asking for the support of some black faculty deans at Harvard? Oh, because he found out that they're highly intelligent, highly qualified. So let me go get them just in case if something goes wrong. I got some black people on my side too. Don't just make it all white lawyers. Let's get some black lawyers on the team too. Yeah, make it look good, right? Wrong. Black folks, we have to be so much smarter even when we're freaking faculty deans at one of the highest elite universities. We still have to be much smarter than what we are doing and displaying. But I digress. Well, family, as the protests continued with graffiti aimed at Mr. Sullivan appearing on a university building, Harvard administrators said they would conduct what they called a climate review of Winthrop House. In recent weeks, tensions have escalated with a student sit-in and a lawsuit sparked by a clash between one of the protest leaders and two Winthrop House staff members who were seen as supporting Mr. Sullivan. Now, before I continue, let me take you to show you who this Mr. Sullivan is. So family, here is the coon with his head down. He's the one walking beside the sexual predator. And he's the one in the middle, of course, the only black man walking with his head positioned down, like he has no self-esteem, right? He's that one. This is who we're talking about. And we could see that this Sullivan, Ronald Sullivan Jr., we can see that he represents different people in high-profile cases, but you notice they're not black. I wouldn't trust this man as far as I could throw him. I would not trust him. This is the type of black man that I can't stand. Well, on Saturday, the dean of Harvard College, Rakesh Khurana, sent an email to students and staff members at Winthrop House informing them that he would not renew the appointments of Mr. Sullivan and Miss Robinson as faculty deans after their terms end on June 30th. Bravo! Mr. Khurana said in his email that the decision was informed, quote, by a number of considerations. Yeah, like the fact that you would choose to represent a sexual predator with your dumb ass. Over the last few weeks, students and staff have continued to communicate concerns about the climate in Winthrop House to the college, he wrote. The concerns expressed have been serious and numerous. The actions that have been taken to improve the climate have been ineffective, and the noticeable lack of faculty dean presence during critical moments has further deteriorated the climate in the house. I have concluded that the situation in the house is unattainable. In a statement, Mr. Sullivan and Miss Robinson said, quote, we are surprised and dismayed by the action Harvard announced today. We believed the discussions we were having with high-level university representatives were progressing in a positive manner, but Harvard unilaterally ended those talks. We will now take some time to process Harvard's actions and consider our options, their statement continued. We are sorry that Harvard's actions and the controversy surrounding us have contributed to the stress on Winthrop students at this already stressful time. The decision not to renew the appointments of Mr. Sullivan and Miss Robinson as faculty deans does not affect their positions at the law school, where Mr. Sullivan is the Jesse Clemenco Clinical Professor of Law and the Director of the Criminal Justice Institute. Yeah, what criminal justice? We live in a society that only operates on a racial system. As I stated before in many of my other videos, when they refer to this system as a criminal justice system, I will always correct that and refer to it as what it is, a racial system. The controversies around Mr. Sullivan's representation of Mr. Weinstein, of Harvey, goddammit, highlighted a conflict between the legal principle that every accused person deserves a vigorous defense and students' demands that college officials show support for victims of sexual assault. Quote, whose side are you on? Demanded one of the spray-painted messages directed at Mr. Sullivan earlier this year. That's a good question, student. You are using your brains. You are using your thoughts and ideas and asking the pertinent, important questions that a Mr. Sullivan and a Miss Robinson, they failed to even question and ask themselves. Very good, student. You should be teaching them. But I digress. And of course, like clockwork, a number of Mr. Sullivan's colleagues came to his defense. As a matter of fact, 52 professors at the law school signed a letter supporting him, saying that his commitment to representing unpopular clients was fully consistent with his roles as law professor and faculty dean, and that Harvard should not pressure him to resign. Now, let me state for the record that, of course, 52 of his colleagues would sign a letter showing support for him because, after all, he's the black man putting himself on the line for a sexual predator. So, of course, they would co-sign you. You're so stupid, so smart, but yet so dumb. People like him are just too stupid beyond words. I don't even know the right words to describe idiocy like this. A supposedly intelligent black man doing this in 2019. I hope his stature in the law profession, I hope it goes to the toilet. After this, I do. I wish him nothing but the worst. I'm putting that out in the universe. Black men like him disgust me. And you hear a lot of the white people coming behind, giving him full support, because of course they would. You notice that they're not the ones supporting Harvey. They're not the ones supporting Harvey. Yeah, they're not the ones supporting Harvey. You are, black man, you big dummy. And then I have to wonder, why do they have him there? Do they have him there for what? Photo ops? To show that, hey, we have a black person on our legal team? What is the purpose? I don't understand black men like Ronald Sullivan. I really don't. It's just making my brain cells just melt down. And wait for it. Now we have some of the black students at Harvard who are looking at this slightly different. So at the same time, the dispute took on a racial element, with some saying that Mr. Sullivan was being treated unfairly. No. In a statement in late March, the Harvard Black Law Students Association criticized the decision by the university to conduct a climate review and expressed concern about, quote, the racist undertones evidenced by the disproportionate response to this issue by the university, unquote. Mr. Sullivan himself suggested that race was playing a role in the handling of the controversy. Well, we're not going to allow you to use that race card. That is invalid. You made the decision to represent a sexual predator. That's what you made. Don't get other black people into your shit. Shit. I didn't want to say the word, but yes, don't get people into your shit. Yeah, you have other black students trying to cape for you when you made the decision to represent a sexual predator. Yeah, well, what happened to me too? What happened to all of them? You just disregarded them, stuck your middle finger up at them, didn't you, Ronald Sullivan? Representing this sexual predator. Everyone knows he is. And so what are you there for, to try to get him off? But I digress. Quote, it is not lost on me that I'm the first African American to hold this position, he told the Times earlier this year. Never in the history of the faculty dean position has the dean been subjected to a climate review in the middle of some controversy. This is not just some controversy. This is serious, you dumb idiot. Harvard students live, eat, and socialize in the college's 12 undergraduate houses. The job of the faculty deans is to support students academically and personally and to set the tone for the house's social activities. Madonna Yaki, a junior who took a leading role in organizing the protests, said on Saturday afternoon that she had not expected the college to act so definitively or so quickly. Quote, my honest reaction is just completely gobsmacked, but in the best way, she said. I'm very proud today of our college and our college's administration for finally choosing to do the right thing. Mr. Sullivan has represented other controversial clients, including Aaron Hernandez, the former New England Patriots player, when he was tried for double murder, and the family of Usama Rahim, a man shot by the Boston police who had been accused of being a terrorist. Mr. Sullivan also represented the family of Michael Brown, a man killed by the police in Missouri. In bringing a wrongful death suit against the city of Ferguson, the family ultimately received a reported $1.5 million settlement. Family, I know you just heard that he did win the Michael Brown's family $1.5 million lawsuit, but let's not act like that is something to be proud of, especially when we find out that a white woman who was killed by a black police officer, their family just got $20 million. 1.5 million, 20 million. 1.5 million, 20 million. Ronald Sullivan, you ain't shit. That little accolade you did, it ain't shit. So I just want to throw that out there. That's nothing to me. It's nothing to me. 1.5 million, 20 million. Yeah, you see the problem, don't you, black man? So now we get to why it is that Ronald Sullivan may have been hired by the Harvey Weinstein camp. Because he has specialized in overturning wrongful convictions. In the wake of Hurricane Katrina, he led an effort to change the system that provided legal defense for the indigent in New Orleans. The effort resulted in the release of thousands of wrongfully incarcerated inmates. Now that is an accomplishment. But in 2014, the Brooklyn District Attorney Kenneth Thompson asked Mr. Sullivan to design and implement a conviction review unit to identify and exonerate wrongfully convicted people. It became a national model. Well, and in that instance, kudos to you, Mr. Sullivan. In his email to Winthrop House, Mr. Karana praised the commitment of Mr. Sullivan and Ms. Robinson to justice, if that's what you want to call it, and civic engagement. Quote, "This is a regrettable situation and a very hard decision to make," he wrote. He said that he and two other Harvard deans would visit Winthrop House on Saturday afternoon to answer students' questions. Miss Madonna Yaki said on Saturday that she was in the dining hall with the deans and the mood was very happy. Quote, "They're all there and addressing concerns, questions, even just people who want to say thank you to them," she said. "I think that's added to the kind of celebratory atmosphere." And so, family, I'm going to end this video off here, but as you can see in this picture here on the right, you see Mr. Sullivan tagging along like a little puppy dog behind Harvey, the sexual predator. You see Mr. Sullivan tagging along behind him like a little puppet. And of course, he's going to do his best to probably get Harvey off from all the charges that he faces. This is so disgusting. Ronald Sullivan, you should have been there for Bill Cosby. You butt dancing, boot licking jackass. I'm out.